Being a spiritual warrior is no joke. And speaking about my own life experiences and aligning more now with Christ, well, realigning and finding it and deepening my relationship with Christ and the true Holy Spirit and the true God of this earth at this moment in time, and basically finding my way back by my life experiences. One of the main things I've been asking God, I've been like, true God of the earth, why am I chosen for this? Why am I a spiritual warrior? Like, what is it? Like, why? And what God has been telling me and showing me through scriptures and downloads is basically spiritual warfare is real, and you have the gift of spiritual discernment. You have the gift of discerning of spirits, and then you are a healer. The one of the biggest things that God has been telling me, He keeps emphasizing to me, the true God of this earth, Father Yahshua, is Desjanée, you are a healer. Desjanée, think about what you were told as you were on your spiritual journey and aligning and finding things out about your own gifts. Now correlate that back to being a Christian. Correlate that into being a spiritual warrior. Correlate that into everything you know about Nephilim and all the manipulation that you have personally went through. You had to live through your experiences to understand. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, my body's shaking. To live through your experience to understand exactly how much trickster energy, how much manipulation goes on, and how many people that are chosen with divine gifts and special abilities get manipulated and tricked. God was like, yes, you were born in what you consider toxic Christianity. It made you want to repel, walk away. But then you started diving deeper into understanding that. You started getting downloads, your gift of wisdom started to kick in, and that's also when you started to experience more spiritual warfare. When you started to reveal, when the truth started to be revealed to you, and you started to tune in, that is when things started to turn. That is when things started to betray you. That is when things started to hurt and hinder you more deeply, to a point that they were trying to block your gifts, trying to block you and literally physically harm you, planting things in you from the different realms because you were starting to speak the truth and you started to know the truth. So what God was telling me, and I mean true God of the earth, again, Yahshua, was telling me as I was connecting and tuning in through prayer and reading my Bible, and I've been fasting and just understanding deeper, was you basically are a prime example of what goes wrong when you're divinely chosen, and then you're manipulated, then you rebel, or you just walk away from something that you feel like you could have been connected to if you were raised in the right environments. Sadly, a lot of people are raised in toxic environments. A lot of people go through situations like you and then have to find their way back to Christ, to themselves, understanding who they are. So yes, you were manipulated. Yes, you started to come into this deep understanding as you have the spiritual gift of wisdom, as you have get the discerning of spirits, as you're somebody who sees in the spiritual realm. Think about your gifts. This is what God kept telling me. He's like, think about your gifts, Desjanée. Think about what you're going through right now. You have the gift of seeing in the spiritual realm. You have the gift of seeing in the spiritual realm through your actual eyes. And deeper than that, you have the gift of being able to interact with spirits in the spiritual realm. And you are a healer, and you work with the true Holy Spirit to heal and cleanse darkness, as in fallen angels, any type of Nephilim energy. You're able to work with the true Holy Spirit. You can call in Jesus, work with him if you need to, and banish and rebuke it, because that is the most powerful source. So you are a very powerful source that went through a lot of manipulation, a lot of trauma, a lot of darkness that made you turn away. So of course, when they made you turn away in the situation that you grew up in, made you walk away because you felt hurt, you felt betrayed, you didn't like what you saw. And then you had to come back into it and see the beauty of everything and why you experienced what you experienced. It's like, think about it. You being divinely chosen, that's why you went through so much struggle, so much hardship, so much trauma, why you just felt like you weren't loved. And then he was saying, think about how you were divinely chosen when you decided to develop your gifts because you weren't raised within them. How as soon as that started happening, spirits, energies, and entities started to latch on to you, to manipulate you, and to try to use you to do their bidding and connect to you. Like in my case, I used to connect to a lot of gods, goddesses, and deities. I've always known that they existed. But they aren't true gods, goddesses, and deities. They're false gods, goddesses, and deities. They're Nephilim, fallen angel energies, entities, or galactic star seed, galactic federation energies, and they actually correlate quite a bit in the divine council energy. So they're beings that are either from outside of this earth, or fallen angels that fell into this earth that want us to basically serve into them, to work with them, tune in. So if they know you have a divine light and you have a divine purpose like you have, Desjanée, this is what God was telling me. Of course, they wanted to latch on to you. So you have to become, you are the spiritual warrior. You have your light. So when you started to come through these revelations, you started to align, you started to dive deeper and to understand. That's when they turned and betrayed you. That's when you started to deal with the Nephilim. This is when you're cleansing, banishing, rebuking. You're delivering yourself from these spirits, energies, and entities as you are tested by your own faith and working with the true Holy Spirit as you realign. So when you're a spiritual warrior, what God kept telling me is you go through hardships and struggle because your light shines. Most of the time, we don't have an easy path. Most of the time, you may lose your way, or you have things that test you that make you want to lose your way. You have to work through ego deaths, healing, surrendering, trusting, and having faith. Even in those times where you're still adjusting to who you are and what you're meant to do, and those around you that may be trying to preach to you about a story that you may, in my case, toxic way of showing you how it should be, but still understanding what that truth is. So being a spiritual warrior isn't easy, and you're tested, especially if you're a spiritual warrior like me that's literally meant to transmute darkness, work with the true Holy Spirit, combat the darkness, heal, cleanse, banish, and rebuke. Someone with the purpose of deliverance, someone with the purpose of cleansing and healing, someone that can help people remove attachments to them and let them know where the attachments derive from. Because negative spirits, energies, entities, even spirits, energies, and entities that are neutral or will be considered light attached to us with the gifts, purposes, or humans just being around and existing. So those of us that are more spiritually aware, those of us that work, in my case, with the true Holy Spirit and the energy of Christ too, we are able to see. Not everyone sees in the spirit realm. Not everyone's aware or tunes into the spiritual warfare. So those of us that have our gifts and our abilities that are tuning in, that have that purpose, we are needed. So yes, they'll try to manipulate you and get you on their side. Yes, they'll try to make it seem like they're who you're supposed to tune into. But deep down, you always find your way. Sometimes it takes hardships and struggles. In my case, a lot of betrayal after realizing the manipulation. But that's a part of your spiritual warrior journey, and that's a part of you coming into Christ now, and a part of you banishing, rebuking, cleansing, and helping to serve the energy of light, helping humanity, helping the earth, and being the spiritual warrior that you are. So being a spiritual warrior isn't easy because you have to realign, you have to heal, you have to let your ego die, you have to be of service, tune into your gifts and your abilities, and then find your way when you get lost. Or even if you're on your journey, dive deeper into who you are, utilizing your gifts deeper into service and being okay with serving. And serving isn't easy because you're going to be pushed into places that you don't want to be sometimes, into uncomfortable situations. Like for me, in general, speaking about my spiritual journey, realigning with Christ, everything that I'm going through, battling the Nephilim, fallen angel energies, demons, spirits, all these things, cleansing, banishing, rebuking, working with the true Holy Spirit, working with Christ, and aligning with this purpose, being a healer. This is extremely uncomfortable for me. It's hard, but it's my truth. This is my journey. This is my revelation. This is literally everything I'm going through is my testimony. Because I was raised Christian. I walked away from Christianity. I developed my spiritual gifts. I was solely spiritual. I had a shamanic awakening, which is a deepening of my spiritual gifts and my spiritual purpose. Spiritual warrior energy for Christ, though. Working with the true Holy Spirit, working with that energy, working with the true God of this earth. I was literally manipulated by the different gods, goddesses, and deities from different cultures and belief systems, making it seem like I was meant to serve them and work with them because they're meant to help us. But in reality, they feed off of our energy and aren't needed at all because they are like, say you're someone with spiritual gifts. Spiritual gifts, ether, water, fire, earth, air. That's the foundation. Working with your spiritual gifts and a purpose with where you're not feeding into an energy or an entity. You're working in alignment just because you're supposed to. Like I'm working with the true Holy Spirit. I'm working with Christ. The true Holy Spirit and Christ don't need anything. They don't get fed off of. They're doing it because of the purpose of humanity, greater good, enlightenment. This is a part of my journey. So being a spiritual warrior, being able to crush my ego, speak my story, speak my testimony, and just serve. It's not easy, but I'm Desjanée, and I'm on a spiritual journey. I'm a spiritual warrior. I'm someone with spiritual gifts. I'm a spiritually gifted Christian. And I'm here to banish and rebuke, cleanse, and help with the spiritual warfare going on within earth and humanity.